We're going to do it again, guys. We're going to go through one of the pinnacle of fake news organizations, the lovely Washington Post. Actually, I didn't notice. They have a sticker. 20% off wine purchases from China. Holy fucking shit, I gotta get on that. But first I gotta make a video. Okay, so. One of the front stories on the front page yesterday, on Sunday, was Return of the War on Drugs. Return, as in it hasn't been occurring as of late, and now it's just coming back. That's what return means. It hasn't been here, it hasn't been occurring, and now it is. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, where the fucking hell have you been during Obama's terms plural? Where the fucking hell have you been the last 8 years when Obama has accelerated the drug war to astronomical proportions and just batshit insanity? What I'm trying to point out is that they are not explicitly lying in this article. I'll leave a link as always so you can read it in entirety. You can read it before you watch this video so you don't get my snarky commentary throughout. You can read it before that. One of Sargon of Akkad's videos, which again I'll leave a link, when he explains how fake news works, that they don't directly lie. That's too easy to get caught. That won't fool people. It's easily debunked. It's not the way how to influence people, just straight up lying. No, they become more sinister than that. All they do is post half-truths and post opinions without saying anything else in context. They decontextualize things. They have this whole step-by-step process in how they do this. So, when the Washington Post says, return of the war on drugs, what they're explicitly saying, what they're not saying directly, but what they're implying as, Obama, he was the good guy, he was the good president. He didn't do the war on drugs, or at least that much. He kind of toned it down a bit. And Trump, the racist white person who now is in the White House, now he is going to accelerate. He's going to kick it back in again. Because Bush did it. Obama didn't do it that much because he's black and he's cool, but now Trump's doing it again. That's what they're saying behind the scenes. Not directly, but that's trying to influence. When you see Return of the War on Drugs, it was like, okay, well, it's not been happening for a while. They've kind of put it on the back burner. They haven't done it that much, and now they are, thanks to Trump. Just like, where have you been the last 8 years? Let me throw out some stats to Obama's legacy on the war on drugs. He will be remembered as one of the cocksuckers of the war on drugs. He loved that fucking program. I bet he jacks off to throwing innocent people, mostly minorities, but of all races, into jail for simply putting something in their own body that they willingly choose to, and throwing people in jail for mutually benefiting transactions. Both sides consent. They do a transaction. No one is hurt. There are no victims in this. He just jacks off to putting people in jail for decades because of that. I mean, because he does it all the fucking time. Well, he did. That's what I meant. Passed. Obama's out of here. Let's see. There are now estimated 80,000 SWAT raids annually in the U.S., the vast majority of which are serving mere search warrants, usually for drugs. So what does that mean? The vast majority of this 80,000 is just somehow the SWAT people, the police, they found through text or email that this guy is smoking marijuana. Mostly it's marijuana. The other drugs are a tiny, tiny, less than 1% of the population uses those. Americans who regularly smoke marijuana is between 3 and 4%. So even the most common drug, the most commonly used illegal drug, marijuana, is only 3 or 4% of the population. And everything else, the harder stuff, it's not quotes, it's actually harder. That's even less percentage. The vast majority of people who use marijuana don't even use the harder drugs. So, the vast majority of these 80,000 annual SWAT raids are just busting into people's house, shooting their dogs sometimes, throwing hand grenades at babies. That happens sometimes. I'm not making this shit up. They shoot dogs all the time serving these raids. And some guy is just smoking marijuana. No one's getting hurt. He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything illegal besides smoking marijuana. He's not out committing crime. He's just in his house. He wants to chill. He wants to smoke. And then SWAT people break into his house, shoot his fucking dog, and then he's in jail for a decade plus. Oh, and he has a felony on his record, so good luck getting a job with that. Hundreds of thousands of Americans' lives have been ruined by the war on drugs because the government thinks that they know better than us about what to put in our own bodies. Oh, but we're getting sidetracked because I'm not going to bash the war on drugs. I could write a whole fucking book on that, but I'm not. What I'm specifically pointing out in the hypocrisy of the Washington Post is that they are explicitly saying that Obama didn't do this stuff. The Democrats, they're the good guys. They didn't do it that much. But Trump and the Republicans, the bad guys, they're doing it. It's like, no, there is no return of the war on drugs. It's always been happening for decades now. There is no, it can't possibly return because it's always been happening. It's always increasing in its intensity. So 80,000 SWAT raids a year. Obama's 2017 drug budget seeks $31 billion, an increase of 25% from when he took office. This year, the federal government is spending more than $1,100 per person to combat the habit of America's 27 million illicit drug users, and 22 million of them use marijuana. America has 25% of the world's prison population. We're only, how many Americans are there? 330 something? I mean, that's the number how many Americans are there? How many Americans are there? America, fuck yeah. There are 316 million of us. That's it. That's a small, that is just not even close to a quarter of the world's population. But yet we have a quarter of the world's prison population. The overwhelming majority of this is where there are no victims. If a person goes to another person, buys marijuana, and then goes back to his home and smokes it, and just laughs at funny fucking internet videos, doesn't hurt a single fucking person, there is no victim in this crime. But yet, according to the U.S. judicial system, there is a crime. That's a felony. And we need to take drugs away from you, otherwise they'll ruin your life. So we're going to throw you in jail for decades and ruin your life. I mean, that's stunning logic right there. Those are just the stats happening in America. The side effects of the U.S. war on drugs is the cartels in Mexico having the power to kill thousands of people because they can sell things to Americans that are illegal in the U.S. But if they were legal, well, then they wouldn't have the purchasing power. They would lose billions of profits. They wouldn't be able to kill as many people in Mexico as they do right now because they couldn't sell as many things. They would return less of a profit. So in Mexico, since 2007, as many as 80,000 civilians have been murdered in drug violence. We play a part in that. We contribute to that by not legalizing all drugs. So then the cartel's purchasing power is lessened because there's a black market for legal products. There's still a black market for cigarettes, for example. Even though you can go down the store and buy cigarettes. Well, why is that? Because the black market's cheaper. So just because we would legalize marijuana and all other illegal drugs does not mean that the cartels don't have any power whatsoever in selling these things. They can still sell them on the black market for a profit because they can sell them for cheaper than doing it legally in the US, but it's significantly less money, significantly less return than the current situation. So that's Obama's legacy on the drug war. Fake news number 2. This isn't specific to the Washington Post. This is just specific to liberals in general, mainstream media outlets. They are bemoaning Russia's close relationship with Syria. They are just so pissed off that Russia is supporting this bloodthirsty dictator who is killing his own civilians and oppressing them, taking away their rights. And they want to shame Russia into somehow feeling bad for this, like the Russians give a flaming fuck about this anyway. But they're trying to use their moral superiority. Oh yeah, we're better than the Russians because the Russians are supporting Assad and we're not. Well, hold on a second. Stop with your high horse right there. We give billions of dollars in military aid to regimes that are just as bad as Assad every single fucking goddamn year. And Obama did this too, but you guys just don't like to mention it because you like to prop up Democrats as lovers of democracy, of human rights. We are fighting the bad guys. We're the good guys. It's the Republicans, Trump, and Russia. They're the bad guys. They're the ones that support bloodthirsty dictators and oppressive regimes. Well, you know, that's funny because you can look up every year in the State Department how much money Obama, and any other president for that matter, I'm just picking on Obama because he was the last Democratic president, and people tout him as, oh, he was such a good president, he did so much good for this country, now Trump's going to ruin it all. Obama, just like every other president, for several decades now, has contributed to the ruin and the destruction of this country because they're all fucking assholes. But I digress because that's just a bigger topic. What I'm talking about specifically is Obama's support of oppressive regimes and dictators and tyrants, whatever. You look up the State Department, every single year he gives billions of dollars to fucking Saudi Arabia, one of the worst fucking countries on the fucking goddamn planet. They oppress the hell out of their own civilians, specifically women, but all Saudi Arabians are oppressed too. He gives billions to Nigeria, he gives billions to Egypt, billions to Jordan. I mean, just, okay. I know that Russia is bad for supporting Syria. If I was a Russian president, hypothetically, I wouldn't do it. Because they're supporting the oppression of other people's human rights. And as a libertarian, I can't do that. But I'm not going to sit there and let you guys take the high ground in this argument, saying, oh, we don't do this, we're better than the Russians, we don't do this. No, you fucking do it all the time. You just like to get rid of reality to suit your narrative. This is the whole problem with radicals on both sides. They just like to get rid of reality and tout their own narrative. And it doesn't matter if reality contradicts their narrative, they're just going to ignore it. You know, so they don't ever mention Obama giving billions of dollars of military aid to the Saudi Arabians so they can turn around and oppress their own civilians in all the other countries I just mentioned, including Pakistan, Nigeria, Egypt, Jordan. That's just 5 off the top of my head I can think of. You can look through the State Department every single year how much fucking money they give to them. So yes, Russia is bad by supporting Syria. Guess what? We're just as bad for supporting those other shitty countries. And guess what? Great Britain, France, India, they all do the same. They're all shitty. They all are complete fucking assholes who don't care about oppressing other people's rights as long as they get out of the dictator of the country they're supporting. As long as they get what they want, they don't care what the dictator of their country does. So no, we're not better than the Russians in this example. And this is, again, the fake news that they're propagating. They're not explicitly lying by saying that Russia is bad by supporting Syria. What they're leaving out is that the U.S. does the same fucking thing. So if Russia is so fucking horrible for doing this, then we're just as horrible.